Hello, hello, hello! Welcome back to the OffStudio, where we talk about whatever I want to talk about, because today it's my show and not JC's. Welcome back to All About Me, and we're doing a driving conversation today. I don't really know how we're gonna start this convo. I'm not entirely sure what this goes, but considering how I have a rather lengthy travel to go through, I figured this would be a fun time to talk and babble, and hopefully this leads to something, because I don't really know where this is gonna go, and a lot of my conversations and train of thoughts end up going through this today. Maybe it'll be a type related thing. Maybe it's how I deal with frustration. Maybe it's how I deal with when things don't line up the way I want it to line up in reality. Actually, why not? Let's talk about it. It's funny how I said I didn't know what I'm going to talk about, but voila, we found out what we're going to talk about. So basically, what I really want to get into this fine and dandy evening as I do a late drive is really, how do I deal with frustration? How do I deal with moving on? How do I deal with when things don't line up? For context, I am an Enneagram 7, the supposed optimist of the Enneagram types. And while that can be true, especially for the people who do know me and who see me, or who even for anything else, how my demeanor works, it definitely comes to place, or comes to fruition, or it's quite obvious if you see it. However, I want to provide some nuance and some context, because Enneagram 7s are part of a different kind of triad called the frustration triad. I share this with the Enneagram type 1s and the Enneagram type 4s. It's probably the only thing that me and those other two types have in common, especially Enneagram 4s. I actually can't relate too much about them, description-wise and anything else related, except for that fact that we like to project an ideal that we have in our minds onto the world, and then we get severely disappointed when those things don't line up and don't match up. I think a big problem about why it becomes like that is because we have an expectation in our heads what we want to happen. And when that doesn't work out, or when it doesn't really connect or even match, it has a lot of problems. It has a lot of issues. It causes a lot of strain, I believe, in myself, and in I guess even in others. I don't really think about that second part, though. Not enough, I don't think. But anyways, in a way, I do struggle when it comes to sometimes patience. As much as I like to call myself as the king of delayed gratification, there is going to be aspects in life that frustrate me and also cause me to be really impatient and be frustrated or upset or even be triggered when things like that happen. And I think a good example I can think of is when plans that I make don't go according to what I want it to be. What sucks too is I tend to have a bit of a difficult way of looking at things, because sometimes there's a side of me that wants to just have it my way, a side of me that just wants things to be enjoyable, to be fun, and I have this idea of what that fun is like. And of course, if I just do that, I end up being disappointed because not everything always fits to what I want. And that's fine, because there's a piece of me that prides itself on being realistic and tries to be rational about the whole thing. So I'm often trying to cushion a lot of my issues or a lot of my frustrations by saying that, oh well, I just didn't work hard enough to make that dream a reality, therefore I can't really cry about it. But then I'll still cry about it because life, and it still sucks. It's just I don't like feeling pain, like I don't like dealing with it, so I'll just try to avoid that, even though the body is gonna reject it and show something else anyway. I realize that this is a lot harder than I thought I would do to express this much, because I'm not really comfortable in this zone, because I prefer to kind of live my life always in motion, if that makes sense. If not, if not physically in motion, I would say mentally in motion. I would constantly see myself as that way. So it's really hard for me to even kind of have moments like this where I thought at first this was going to be an easy convo, and then I realized, oh, well, maybe this isn't as easy as I thought it would be, because I'm not comfortable at all. But we're going to push through it. The whole point of the Enneagram is realizing all the different parts about why you hate yourself. So therefore, we're going to do that today. So yes, Enneagram 7s, how do I deal with being upset? I get really frustrated. I don't get angry necessarily, because anger to me is kind of how do I put this? It's kind of anger is kind of an exhausting emotion for me. I don't like getting angry because I get tired easily, and I feel like my energy could be better spent not dealing with that, whereas I could have just done something else as an alternative. And I think this is part of it being my 9 figs. I don't really have that strong connection with anger, even though I think that's probably why I enjoy disintegrating to 1, because in a way I'm able to be frustrated and I'm able to express that side of me without any kind of qualms for about a thing, which so there's that to think about. It's a wild ride. Frustration. How do I deal with it? I get super judgmental. I think it's another one. I don't think I have a lot of rigid views. I don't think that I do. But I can act very rigid and act very structured when I get really upset. And it's almost as if I won't budge or I won't move. I'm very, no, you move. As if I have every right in the world, like as if I'm entitled to being the rock on this road. I don't understand where it's coming from, but when you're upset, apparently it's a thing. So yeah, that's a thing. Does it happen often? The answer is absolutely not. It does not happen often. When it does, I tend to believe that there's a good reason why it happens, but generally it wouldn't be. Another thing that I do when things don't line up the way, or how do I deal when things don't line up? Honestly, I try to think. I really do. I feel as though a lot of my problems happen because I didn't think hard enough, or I didn't try hard enough. So I had to really sit down for a second and focus, which is again difficult for somebody like me, but also necessary. And I had to remind myself that something is necessary, for my survival, but also for my own personal benefit. And that way it can help me kind of frame the situation into something I can control. Usually I tend to think that this is something that 1s and 5s and 6s can do easily, and as a 7 it's not that easy, I don't think. Granted, I think a lot of 7s are a lot more nonchalant and happy-go-lucky than I am, or maybe that's just me. There's a lot of factors that I am thinking it's going through my head right now. Like I could just because I'm a self-preservation 7 and that's why I act the way that I do, or is it because I was young before and I'm not young anymore? Like maybe we're just grizzled and cynical because that's life or something. So well, I'm gonna divide this into a part thing. Maybe this is just a mini series of things to confess about. I don't know if I said anything substantial, but this is really what it feels like, what it do, what it be. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for staying this long to listen to a person such as myself babble about this. If this is by any means insightful for y'all, by all means take it as you will. If you have any questions, go definitely ask. I will try to get back to you as best as I can. And yeah, stay tuned for the next episode. Stay tuned for JC's episode. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your week. Bye!